Greetings and welcome back everyone to Factorio Beginner's Guide with myself, that is Aavak, and of course, shenryyr. Say hello, Shen.
Green Mario says hello.
Well, Green Mario should jump into the train before it leaves without us. This is Copperfield. As we mentioned in our previous episode, we were going to be doing a little bit of work off camera, which turned into a lot more than a little bit of work, because there were lots of things I needed to do. But effectively, I have set up copper mining in a couple of different places, and you'll also notice quite a few fields of solar panels and accumulators, because it is getting increasingly difficult to fuel our base on fuel blocks because of a bit of an oil shortage.
Yep, but we have also tackled the oil shortage, so hopefully that will catch up with the requirement, the supply, I mean. But yeah, we've been tackling a lot of things that just have cropped up as we started to get into a lot of the late game production. Yeah. We wind up using a lot more copper, so we obviously knew we would need some of that. But the lack of oil was actually kind of a bit of a surprise, but I'm glad we took care of it, and it looks like electricity's good, copper's good, and I guess if I check on the oil real quick, we'll know if that's good.
The accumulators actually managed to carry us all the way through the night with quite a lot of ease. There's about a quarter to half of the accumulators battery remaining by the time that daylight comes around. Now the steam engines are all off, the steam boilers, they're all off. We have virtually no fuel blocks getting to them, which is a shame, and hopefully, as Shen said, that will catch up. But as you can see, we've got all of our copper smelting backed up completely with ore. And that's partially because we're not using too much copper right now. We've done a couple of little things. Oh yeah, we will. A couple of other little things to mention. Obviously, this is a little copper offloading station. All of the train stations no longer get their fuel blocks delivered to them by belt. So they now have requester chests, which make things a lot more efficient. And currently I'm waiting for another copper train. I think this is it. No, it's not. Damn it. To show off the other copper stations that we have. Currently, we have copper fields over to the west.
Here it comes.
Over there.
Here it comes.
Oh, here it is. Moving quite quickly. There we go. We can
I'll hop in this side.
But we also have I think it's Copperton and Copper Shore. And this particular train goes to both on its regular route. But as you can see, there's a lot of accumulators, a lot of solar. The factory is effectively completely running off solar now. But as you can see from the map, that hasn't really greatly impacted the amount of pollution we're producing. At the moment... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's noticeably less red, but it's still a lot of pollution.
At the moment, all of the mines are effectively shut down because there's no work to be done. And that is a very big reason why there's not as much pollution there. But you can see there's a lot of new connections on the train lines. This little area is pretty much completely out of copper. This is one of the easier places for us to get to. So while I'm here, most things are now hooked up to the robot network. So it's very easy to do destruction orders of work. Yeah, just from afar. There we go.
That's so convenient. Well. You don't have to go pick anything up anymore. You just use robots.
Most of this I did off camera with robots. I just walked around and I said, yeah, build this for me. And then I left. And I popped back a little bit later to find it all built. It was great.
It's fantastic. This has a lot of copper in it. Nice.
Yes, this one does. It's again though. It's
running low. I can see some of them are exhausted. Yeah.
Supply.
And here come the little robots. They're like, "We'll fix it. We'll do your bidding, master. We'll be good."
Good robots. This one actually did get quite a lot of attacks though, because initially when I hooked up the oil, I mean these are starting to run out now, so they're not producing that much pollution, but they were producing a fair bit in the beginning, so I had to have quite a beefy defense there.
Oh, I love the look of these trains. The engines are amazing.
I do as well. I really like having just lots of trains working on a tangled line because it makes it more interesting. The trains stopping for each other and going to places.
Yep.
Here we go.
The signals are just a tiny bit complicated, but once you understand the concept behind the signals, the trains are just so much fun to make.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Let's cross this and not die.
Yeah, let's not die. I've already died twice before we started recording today.
We were running quite low on alien artifacts. One of the main things that we were low on towards the end. So Shen and I went out and cleared some alien nests and also put down some more oil. So we should have enough alien artifacts to fuel our research. Now, speaking of research, let's crack on with that. Now, there are a number of things remaining. Not all of them are necessary. One that I haven't even touched on is effect transmission. And since we've unlocked modules, this is a reasonable one to unlock. It basically allows you to create a tower, which when loaded with modules, broadcasts its effect of any modules in it across an area. So it makes the modules area of effect in a sense. And I believe they can stack, but when a module is put into an effect transmission tower, it doesn't give its full stated effect. So when you're using towers, each module is doing a little bit less than it would normally do if you just put it straight into the factory, but it can be potentially applying that to quite a lot more factories. So the net effect is increased in that sense.
They're really, really good if you are just starting to use modules, because they'll affect a lot of things at once, and you don't have to produce so many modules. You just put a couple into this and you're good. However, once you get later on and you have a lot of module production, which we don't yet, but once you have a lot of module production, then putting them individually into the factories is going to give you just a better benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And one nice thing about the way that we've built our factories, we have a lot of our factories clustered together in, kind of discrete. Oh, it doesn't look discrete. It looks like just a big tangled factories. But they are in the kind of little clumps to do a specific thing. So we could use that tower to great effect, honestly. Now over here I've set up automated production of just some request chests and provider chests, because we were using those a lot on the network, but other than that there's not much more we have done. However, the factory has been running for a little while we've been doing some work.
A little while.
Full chest of blue circuits. That should carry us for a while.
How many hours is a little while? Just to give people an idea of how long it took to produce this many circuits.
We've been working on this for about almost 2 hours now since the recording set started. And it probably ran for 2 or 3 hours with nothing happening to it overnight as well. Right, now that research is done, we can have a look at a couple of others. Now, there is one that is not optional. We flat out need it to complete the game, and that is to make the rocket silo, we need rocket shooting speed. We don't need rocket like explosive rocketry or rocket damage at all, but we need the 5th level of rocket shooting speed. This is an expensive one because it is going to constantly use alien artifacts to do.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So we're going to start work on this, but that is probably going to be something that we're not going to finish in this episode or even the next one. So what are we going to be doing in this episode then, Shen?
I think today we're going to show people how to do module production, but not just the low-level modules that we've been making in our pockets. We're going to do module production via factories to make it a little faster, a little more efficient.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm just going to turn down the alerts volume because that is annoyingly loud.
It is loud, yes. So for modules, what do we need in them? What's the basic prescription?
Right. Well, just to cover a quick thing. Obviously, you want modules in your factory just to make everything a little bit better. You might not want the best modules because they're very expensive compared to the lower tiers of modules.
Take into account that not only do they take alien artifacts and processing units, but they also take the previous level of module. Not just one, but multiple of them.
Yeah, that's where it gets really expensive. Honestly, for just regular use, I would say speed like the second tier of modules. Don't go to the third until you're at a point where your factory's producing a lot of stuff, and you can. But I would go around putting the second tier modules in everything first. And remember that you can then use those modules to make the third tier modules. So they're not going to waste. They're part of the upgrade process. So you're not losing those and just going to dump them in a chest somewhere and forget about them. But I wouldn't rush to make the third tier modules. They are very, very expensive and take a very long time to make. However, if we want to show our power armor, and we do, whilst we can move up to the power armor easily enough, going to the power armor Mark II, which we're going to want to do, is going to take 5 of both the efficiency and speed modules at the highest tier. So that's extremely expensive.
Yeah, check out the total raw materials needed. It takes 19.3 thousand seconds, 3.3 thousand iron, 7,000 copper, 40 steel, 60 alien artifacts, 2.4 thousand plastic, which is a ton, and
Yes,
300 processors. That's a lot.
But it is pretty awesome. And we'll show you why in this episode. So, what we're going to do is we're going to be setting up a little manufacturing base that will make from the first tier all the way up to the third. And Shen is going to show us this because he's a bit of a wizard with this.
Right.
But the first one simply needs 5 advanced circuits and 5 electronic circuits. Quite easy things to do, all things told.
Right. So in this case, if we check out the recipe for the circuits, not the circuits, the modules. The first module requires, or it takes 15 seconds to build the first module. The second module takes 30 seconds and it requires 4 of the first. So it takes twice as long and it requires 4 of the speed modules. So if it takes 30 seconds, it requires 4 of these guys, then we can produce how many of these in the same time? Well, 30 seconds, 15 seconds. We can produce 2 of these in the same time as one of the level 2s. So we need at least 2 of these small factories for the speed module 1. And then to handle 1 input to produce 1 of the speed module 2s. And it's the same idea going into level 3. It's twice as long and it requires 2 of these. So it's an absolute perfect match. If we do 2-to-1 ratio for 2-to-1 of the speed module to speed module 2 and 2-to-1 of the speed module 2 to speed module 3, and the same applies for all of them. Basically it's a 2-to-1, so we're going to do like a back and forth 2-to-1 zigzag on these factories to make these ones over here are going to produce the speed module 1s.
It'll become much more clear once Shen actually starts setting the factories to make these, because you'll be able to see the actual icons, and then it'll all become clear. As you can see here, so what Shen was saying is having 2 level 1 modules feeding into 1 level 2 production, and then that feeding into the third. But again, the third needs 2 of the level 2 production factories to be able to sort of match its output, if you like. So in total, you need 7 factories to have the last one, the one producing the level 3 modules, running at near capacity.
Yep, and we're just going to have the requester chests over here. Oh, wow, why did I pick copper ore? We're going to have the requester chests pick up green and red circuits for the level 1 speed modules, because that's all they need. And the level 2s need the processor units, plus the level 1s and reds. So we're just going to have these requester chests pick up the modules that they need, so that these factories can start producing.
Oop, you stood on the spot.
Oops, I'll move.
Move it. There you go. And...
oh, you got some electrics for me? Yeah. Nice.
What I'm going to do is, given where we're building this, I'm going to make a small provider chest that it will run off this line of circuits as well. So it'll make it a little bit faster as well, because the robots will be that much closer and able to pick up the green circuits.
Sounds like a plan.
This point. There we go.
I kind of wish I didn't have a push to talk right now, because it makes it hard to talk while I'm selecting items.
I imagine it does. What I will do instead, actually, is pop the... well, no, we should be fine. There we go. I'll make a passive provider chest there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a smart inserter and tell it to limit the amount of the tier 3 modules that this produces.
Sounds good.
That way we can have a single box, like we can basically mirror this design on this side for efficiency modules. And it should all work out and not take up too much room. There we go. So once again, just connect the inserter to a power pole nearby to the crate, and then tell the inserter if there are, where are you, modules, there we go, if there's more than, let's say, less than 10 modules, then it's allowed to take them out of this factory.
Sounds good. So the factory will always have, like, I think 2 that it'll store in its output.
Yeah.
But then you're going to have this box full of 10, which is fine. And
we can adjust that over time to whatever we really need it to be.
Once we figure out what we want, yeah.
Now, has this... right, I'm going to set up alien artifact requests in this chest as well. There we go. And that's pretty much it. The bots should bring over some alien artifacts. Now, previously I set up our science requester chest to basically request all the alien artifacts in the network, but I've since reduced that to 10 because the single factory couldn't actually produce the purple flasks very quickly anyway, so 10 seems like a reasonable amount, and it also means that when we dump off like 200 alien artifacts, there will be some for construction, because now we're at the point where many of the things that we want to make are flat out just going to need alien artifacts.
Right. So the way this setup works, I know we already talked about it, but you can see it more clearly now that we have requester chests pulling in the circuits that are needed. For blue circuits, we need, or for the level 2 and level 3, we need blue circuits and red circuits. And for the level 1s, we just need these greens and reds. So this is just kind of a compact design to get everything. The speed module 1s go directly into the speed module 2 factory, and then those go directly into speed module 3 factory.
To be perfectly honest, given that the lowest level of the modules just need reds and greens, you could probably set that up easily enough to have local production or to pull the reds off the bus.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
That's true for the second stage as well, but for the sake of brevity and just ease of setting this up, we'll use the robots here. And our fort is now capable of handling that many robots easily enough. Ooh, things are being destroyed. We had best go and check that out. The roboports have got coverage over most of this area, so they should hopefully repair anything that has been damaged. But it looks like we've got a spitter who has just come in through the side and isn't being taken out. Very well, I shall go and deal with you.
Aw,
can't we just low-level spitter?
Can't we just make a pet?
There we go.
Give him a name?
No,
Aww.
no, it broke some of our stuff. It must die. Gosh
darn it, Aavak. You're a monster.
No,
I'll put a power pole down so we can remember it. Can I name this power pole? No, I can't name it.
That'd be fantastic.
Damn.
A grave for the power pole.
Yeah. No, grave for the spitter.
Yeah, sorry, a grave out of a power pole is what I meant.
So I'm going to set up the exact same thing that we did for speed modules, but I'm going to do it for productivity modules because we need speed and productivity for the Power Armor Mark II. Is that right?
No, not productivity, efficiency.
Efficiency.
I know, it's the one that you hate.
I hate efficiency. I hate speed modules too.
It must be. Okay, so that's all sorted and will be repaired for us. I will just make my way back over. That should be fine on its own. The robot network will be able to take care of everything by itself. We don't need to worry too much about that. But yes, we definitely should have production of the productivity modules as well. But there we go. We've already got one speed module 3 in there.
Holy crap, that was quick. Yep. That's a lot faster than I thought it would be.
Yeah. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm effectively going to set up Shen's setup here, but I'm not going to have it feeding into a third tier module. I'm just going to have these two set up like this, so much like Shen has had, but then feeding into a single passive provider chest, just so that we get level 2 productivity modules. As I mentioned, I feel that there's really no need to go up to level 3s unless you're really desperate to have the most efficient design that you can for some reason. Perhaps you are really struggling with resources, so it makes sense to try and eke out the very, very last bit that you can out of every resource. Actually, you can make this slightly more efficient by doing it this way. There we go. I know, me worrying about efficiency, my lord.
There are so many robots flying over us right now.
I know. It's a little bit crazy. And then in here, much the same. So these ones are just going to need a few greens, not nearly that many though, and a few reds, and again, not nearly that many.
I think the main thing that I enjoy about robots is not the fact that they look amazing on the map, because they really do. The main thing I enjoy is the fact that you're not limiting yourself to the bus. You don't have to worry about how close or far away you are from anything in the factory. You simply put down a roboport to cover an area, and you put down whatever factory design you want, and as long as you have the right requester chests, you'll build whatever you need. And it's so amazing that can be done.
Yeah. It is very, very good. Right, down here, we're going to want much the same. And blue circuits this time as well. And then we should be good in just a moment. There we are. I forgot, is it possible to cut and paste the logistics orders? I know it's possible to cut and paste a factory's production, but is it possible to cut and paste a logistic order?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I was trying to, but I couldn't seem to do it, and I assumed that it might be because I'm faffing around and have forgotten the correct hotkey, but I think it might not actually be possible. It's a bit of a shame. Anyways. Oh. I guess we could do this. There we go. Alright, so we should now have the tier 2 productivity modules being created. Unfortunately, you can't put productivity modules into end products. You can only put it into intermediary products. So we can't stick the productivity modules into the productivity module building.
Yeah, oh
which
man.
Which is a great shame.
That'd be amazing.
It is a great shame. It used to be possible, and people would do that. They pretty much all of their modules would have productivity because it made a lot of sense.
It made more modules
to do it that way. Yeah. Unfortunately,
so I missed what you were saying here about this. So you have productivity doing the exact same setup that we're doing up there, but instead of making productivity level 3, you're only doing level 2s. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Are you limiting the box in any way?
Nope.
Okay.
Because we'll use them all across this.
Yeah. And the nice thing,
we will eventually go through all of them.
I know Aavak already touched on this, but the nice thing about it is, let's say we do build up enough productivity level 2s that we've filled every factory with productivity level 2s. Hooray! We've made our factory so much more efficient. Well, then we can plunk down to level 3 and just take all the level 2s out, throw them into the level 3, and start putting level 3s around. You never really, they never really go out of style. You can just keep using them.
Never go out of style.
Mm-hmm.
Is this getting everything it needs? It appears to be, but hasn't
needs one more.
Oh, right. It needs one more. You're quite correct.
I think it needs some more alien artifacts too.
As you can see, the yellow area around it, in fact, I'll place that down and Shen can pick it up, but the yellow area around it is its area of effect. So every factory, everything that can be affected by a module within that yellow area of effect there will be affected by whatever modules you put inside, and it can hold 2 modules. It needs to be powered though, so you're going to have to account for that. It'll need some room for the power as well. But for example, we could take this down and put it near all of our smelters and have all of our smelters being affected by the same 2 modules, like a large group of the smelters. And you might want to build with that in mind.
If you mouse over it, it tells you distribution efficiency is 0.5. So if you put in 2 modules, it basically gives you the effect of 1 module, which is still pretty good.
Yeah, across a number of facilities. So it does end up being pretty good. And I believe, though don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain that the effects actually stack with multiple towers. So if you can fit a lot of towers affecting the same individual factory, then it will be very, very efficient, very, very fast, so on and so forth.
Alrighty, cool.
In fact, I think a lot of people actually use these towers on rocket silos for that reason, because rocket silos take a long time to build the end game goal of making your first rocket. So
no.
Right, how many of these? We've already got 7 productivity modules. That's fantastic. And wow, we've already got 6 speed modules. That is glorious.
I think all of our alien artifacts got sucked into the speed module side because the oh no, we do have 12 over here. Never mind.
No, I've limited it to how much it can pull in.
Why are there so many blue circuits over here?
Right, now, since we're preparing for our awesome suit. There are a couple of things that we can do. Now, since we have our basic modular armor, we can put some things in there. And we're now going to start researching the very last rocket technology needed to make the rocket silo. It's already being researched. Well done, Shen. But if we have a look at these, there's two ways of powering your suit. One is solar panels, and one is the portable fusion reactor. Of the two, the portable fusion reactor is the best, but as you can see, dimension is 4x4. It takes a lot a lot of room to build one of these, and our current suit, I believe, is only a 5x5.
Yeah, you can't really
give us
you can't really fit it there. The second suit, the Power Armor 1, is a 7x7, which is better. Still not great.
You could fit a few small things in it at that point, but there is almost no point whatsoever of using the fusion reactor when you've got basic power armor. So what we'll probably do is we're going to let the factories produce a bunch of modules between this episode and the next. And in the next one, the entire episode is going to be dedicated only to making and playing with the modules. We'll give you a demo of exactly how powerful you can make your personal armor suit with all of the doodads and gadgets once installed. So
and then,
shall we wrap things up there?
Well, and then when you press C over your friend Count Avacula, he won't just die. He won't.
I might die of broken heart.
But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this episode today, talking about wonderful copper trains, wonderful oil, and of course, wonderful modules. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everyone.